God of War is a pretty great game. We're really loving it, and the game has legions of fans, but even the biggest fans have their small gripes and complaints. So, like with every big game, we take to the internet, forums, and social media to find what bother people the most about their favorite games. So today we're talking about 10 things God of War players hate. And before we move forward, keep in mind that this video will have spoilers. Nothing intense, but still, there will be elements that will be spoiled, so keep that in mind. I suggest you play through the game before you watch this because some of the surprises and reveals are really good. Starting off with number 10, we have something that people hate that's actually a pretty valid criticism of the game's design, and that is the lack of bosses. Now, full transparency, this is something I also took issue with in the game, and that's just kind of the lack of variety to encounters. How many times do you expect a big moment in the game when you have another quote-unquote boss battle where it's just another troll? And this time the troll is orange, or this time the troll is green. The game has a lot of that, and while it's not sparse by any means, compared to another God of War game, this game just has a laughable amount of bosses. And that's a bummer for fans of the series who go in looking to kill and brutalize lots of different types of creatures and enemies. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world because fighting all these things still is really fun and it doesn't exactly get old, and there are little variances between them, but I've seen a lot of people out there cry out for more bosses, and I'm with them on that. Now, next up at number 9, maybe you're excited about the new God of War, maybe you picked it up, maybe you didn't, maybe you're still working your way through it, but you watch a lot of YouTube videos about video games. I mean, chances are if you're here, you do. But you might also hate the fact that you have had moments of the new God of War game spoiled for you thanks to some YouTube channels in the recommended tab popping up that like to put spoiler-specific stuff in the titles or the thumbnails specifically. Now look, we're not casting stones out there. Every YouTube channel does things differently, and we're not gonna criticize that, but we would like to see a little less spoilers out there on the thumbnails. I've known a lot of people, not even on the internet, but personally in real life, who have had some things spoiled for them. And, you know, some people are more sensitive to spoilers than others. But still, I got the entire last big battle spoiled for me thanks to a thumbnail image. The thumbnail image was literally just boom, a big shot of the end encounter, the environment, who you were fighting, everything. So then playing through the rest of the game, I knew exactly how things were gonna end. And as someone that does care about spoilers, that bothered me. Did that happen to you? I'm curious to hear in the comments. Now, next up at number 8, it wouldn't be a hate video if we didn't talk about annoying enemy types. So for number 8, we're gonna talk about the Revenant first. I saw this one pop up on forums a lot. Me personally, there's another enemy type that annoys me much worse, but people have a problem with the Revenant because it's just hard to hit. I mean, thank God you have Atreus, because if you didn't have Atreus to stun the Revenant, they'd be almost impossible to hit at all. But that's kind of the point, right? That's like the game mechanics, so it's not that big of a deal. But I think if you take that and you couple it with like those poison things they can throw if they're of that certain elemental type, and those are hard to dodge, I get it. Revenants can totally suck. Also, their name sounds way cooler than how they actually look. Moving on to number 7 with one more annoying enemy type. We can make a whole list about it, but we have other stuff to talk about. It's nightmares. Nightmares suck. I hate the nightmares. They're annoying. It's not really them in particular, but for me personally and a couple of other people I spoke to, it's just flying enemies in general. Thankfully, God of War doesn't have too many of them, but when they do pop up, they're a bit of a pain. I don't know about you guys, but those are always the first things I single out and kill. I hope you're good at throwing your axe. I hope your aim is decent, because if not, you're kind of shit out of luck. Not only that, the really annoying ones are the ones that can actually possess other enemies and make them really, really annoying to kill. These kind of round out our list of annoying enemies. If you have ones you truly hate though, I'm looking forward to hearing who you have in the comments. Moving on to number 6 though, can we talk spoilers again? I want to talk about specific types of people. The people who go out of their way to spoil the game for you. I've seen this happen to a lot of people, especially on like Twitter and Facebook, most specifically through DMs or private messages. That's what I think myself and some other God of War fans really hate, are those people that can't just let people enjoy things unspoiled. Now, like I said earlier, I get it. Some people don't take spoilers as seriously as others, but hey, you should at least respect what other people want, because it's not that hard to just not spoil things. It's not that big of a deal. You have those people that go out of their way. I've even seen some people complain of people emailing spoilers to them in an image, and you just can't avoid that stuff. Those evil people just go out of their way to ruin it for you. That seems to drive a lot of people crazy, and I get it. But moving on to number 5, if we're talking about hating types of people, this one's a little trickier to talk to, but it's the people who bomb the Metacritic reviews because the game isn't on their platform, or because they're just not happy that they can't play the game, or they're just not happy that the game is getting high scores from other people. Look, I get that people are frustrated and they don't like platform exclusivity and missing out on some good things, but review bombing the game is just generally going to mislead other people that are just looking for consumer information, and I think it's ultimately just the wrong thing to do. I think that's down the path of darkness. And I know this especially bums out the hardcore God of War fans on forums and stuff who don't like to see the game that they have spent years and months hyping and anticipating and talking about get ruined by some spam reviews. It's very unfortunate, but as of right now, what are you gonna do? It's part of the internet. Now next at number 4, this is more of a bittersweet hatred. This is something you might love to hate, but that's the give me God of War difficulty. Because it's absolutely brutal, and if you like a hard game, this is for you, but you're also gonna hate it, you know what I mean? It's so difficult in spots that it actually comes close to almost feeling like the difficulty breaks the game. It doesn't, but it can come close to feeling like that sometimes. But you can do it, you can persevere and get through. It has been done, and you're gonna hate yourself and you're gonna hate the game the entire time, but hey, it's a personal achievement that you can reward yourself with. You can go out and tell someone and they're probably not even gonna know what you're talking about. Now at number 3, something I've seen some people hate. This is a weird complaint, but it's just the writing of the game. And I've seen some people take issue with the fact that Kratos refers to Atreus as boy. And he just says boy so much to the point of it almost being comical and almost downright distracting. That's something that some people take issue with, but my personal take, I don't think so at all. I think it's funny and it's part of the charm of the game. Just let the boys roll in. That sounded not right. I will say that there are some situations where he really could have referred to him as something else or his actual name, and he still resorts to boy, and it does get ridiculous, but like I said, I personally think it's part of the charm of the game. Now, coming down to number 2, something that really pissed people off at first while they were playing through the game. I saw this reaction like in real time on Twitter. It's basically when the game gives you the straight up, hey, sorry Mario, but your princess is in another castle. You go through quite a lot to reach that first peak. You get to the mountain, you realize it's covered in that black smoke, so then you go all the way back to get Bifrost to clear that smoke, and you do all this convoluted stuff, all the while doing side quests and getting stronger to get through. Then you finally get to that peak and realize that you're not done. The journey isn't even close to being done. That's great, but still, at least in that part of the story, you think that part is going to be resolved. It is very much not. It's not the biggest thing to hate on in the world, but it just feels very contrived. We've seen that happen in a lot of games, and it's just a little predictable. Still, like I said, and all of these points aren't really that big of a deal because we do enjoy the game here. But at number 1, one of the biggest things that God of War players hate, and I think this is important, it's Atreus being a smartass. Not Atreus as a character, he's not annoying, you don't have to babysit him or anything like that, but it's just when he mouths off, it makes you frustrated and angry, just like Kratos on screen. And honestly, I think that's the success of the game. That's the game's writing successfully putting you in the shoes of Kratos, who is just annoyed by the kids nagging or being a smartass. There are points where you head the wrong direction in the game and the boy reminds you, hey, what about that shortcut? Don't you remember that? Or he tries to talk you through a puzzle, but he kind of just sounds condescending. Or when he mouths off to you, or he mouths off to other characters in the game who don't deserve it. You just want to kind of reach through the screen and strangle him. So it's like you hate Atreus being a smartass, but I think that that's the game doing something right. Those are the things that God of War players seem to hate the most. Like I said, it's not really actually a lot of deep things, but more just elements and the way the game does certain things themselves. Now, if you have been playing God of War though, I want to know what you hate down in the comments. Maybe it's the Valkyries, maybe it's some of the level design, maybe it's a puzzle you can't get past, maybe it's an enemy that just keeps crushing you. I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. If you enjoyed this video though, clicking the like button helps us out a ton. We really do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, you should, because you join an army 4 million strong and we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys next time.